Global Sports Talk Worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, welterweight news, pound for pound news. Pound for pound number one in most of our books is Terence Crawford. Simple as that. Most of our books is Terence Crawford. Man was undisputed at 140 pounds and 147 pounds, ready to make noise. We know that. Can't really get the fights. And I'm just say something. When he moved up to the welterweight, we try to ignore the fact that he beat Jeff Horn, beat the brakes off of Jeff Horn, right after Jeff Horn beat Manny Pacquiao, right? Because he couldn't get Manny Pacquiao. So this is the guy that Manny Pacquiao did not want to fight for years. So with that being said, Undisputed and Pacquiao didn't want to fight you, and you went to what he was at the baddest at 135, the very baddest at 140, and at 147, people consider you to be either 1A or 1B with your boy Errol Spence. So this is a bad boy. Number one pound for pound. It's not a doubt about it. His resume speaks for itself. We always do this to the great fighters. When they beat somebody, then it's like that guy wasn't what he was supposed to be before the fight. Do it to Floyd Mayweather. He's tried to do that with his career. It was funny. But same thing here. Like we'll say to like a Victor Posto wasn't anything. And Victor Posto's still bad right now. Right? But he got whitewashed, beat pretty soundly by Terence Crawford. That was a huge win. But we kind of, lump it in like he didn't really fight anybody. There's a lot of separation. Terence Crawford, just like Floyd Mayweather, there's not many close fights there you could choose from. You have to go way back to Gamboa. It's not like people were close, and no matter if they were smaller than him or bigger than him. Baddest dude out there. So, this is why I roll with him. He was just saying, because it talks about him fighting Sean Porter. Right? Sean Porter's a bad boy in the welterweight division. Sean Porter is all that. A close fight with Errol Spence proves it. There was no separation between him and Errol Spence. Some thought he tied the fight. Maybe a few thought he won it, but he was definitely in it with Errol Spence. And Errol Spence is supposed to be the best guy in the division. Sean Porter barely got beat by Kell Brook, right? Ain't nobody else beating Kell Brook in the welterweight. Kell Brook only lost in the welterweight division to your boy Errol Spence. Late stoppage after his eye socket was broke, but it was already broke on the other side from Gennady Golovkin, where he shouldn't have went up 2 weight divisions. So Kell Brook still has some respect, right? Bottom line is Sean Porter is all that. The reason why, and I told you this, right? Terence Crawford has said now that he will come out and he would fight Sean Porter. But he said it's his friend, right? Which we can all understand. And what did I say back then, months ago? Is why fight your friend? First of all, your friend didn't win the fight with Errol Spence. So therefore there's not a title there. Get back to him when there's a title on the line. And that's exactly what Terence Crawford is saying. Exactly. Okay, I'll fight him now because I can't get the others, but I'm going for the belt. And that word that no one else uses, I'm trying to become undisputed. When you say I'm trying to become undisputed, then I personally am hooked. I'm rolling with those fighters. Whoever says it out of their mouth, those are the ones that y'all will always be talking about. The ones who be trying to be undisputed. And this guy is trying to be undisputed. It's obvious. That's why I told you guys the best fight for Terence Crawford would be Manny Pacquiao because there's a belt on the line. Then after that, Errol Spence is coming in because he got the other 2 belts, but he comes back, fights Danny Garcia first, and then the winner of Pacquiao, Terence Crawford, versus the winner of Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia. Bam, for undisputed. And after that, if Terence Crawford is still standing, then okay, Sean Porter, if you've done something in the meantime, a little something, maybe rematch Ugas or something in the meantime, then you can have that shot. But I don't think you need to fight your friend when it's not for any marbles. As a matter of fact, it wouldn't even be for a title right now. So yes, he would fight him, but bottom line is, he wants to become undisputed. And listen, anybody that says undisputed, if you notice, if it's Alexander Usyk, who was undisputed at the cruiserweight division, when I talk about Alexander Usyk, what do I say? Boxing royalty. Because he beat every one of those awesome, awesome cruiserweights in their hometowns, right in their backyard. You can't take that away from that man. Deontay Wilder. Doesn't he want to be undisputed? I roll with Jim Deontay Wilder because he says it. He wanted to become undisputed. There's things that been put in his way of late. I'm not going to even go there. I'm gonna leave it at that this time, which is hard to do. But People like that. I'm rolling. Guillermo Rigondeaux, wants to be undisputed. 39 years old. Trying to go back down to 118 to find some people who's supposed to be all that and be undisputed. They ignore it. And it keep talking about Inaui, right? Inaui did Donaire the fight of the year, and he blasted Donaire out 6 years ago. And is calling out Inaui, and nobody's returning his calls. He's sitting over there with Ortiz, Lewis, the real King Kong Ortiz, and can't get no calls back. That's them. And those are the people I talk about. Demetrius Andrade. Talk about him all the time, don't I? Yeah, wants to be undisputed, right? Well, all of a sudden, we got to have a fight on the Mexican holiday this year, don't we? Right? Mexican holiday in September. Got to have a fight. We're going to have somebody, shoot. Ryder got to show up. Quigley better show up. Lemieux better show up. Somebody got to show up now, right? Somebody got to show up. Well, I hope it'd be Chris Eubank Jr. Then I might shut up a little bit. But other than that, ain't nobody going to show up for the date. Last year, on the same date, we could have had one champion in the middleweight division, undisputed. That would have been Canelo Alvarez versus Demetrius Andrade. But he didn't want to take it. Canelo Alvarez didn't want to take it. Didn't mention it, and neither did any of you. No one mentioned that undisputed fight. So from there on in, Demetrius Andrade is the man, right? He was the key to undisputed. We didn't even have it. So I will continue to mention that. Those are the kind of people we're talking about, right? Because in the sport with all these belts, you have to focus, and that's how I watch it. It's like I'm not gonna watch all these other sports and at the end get a final, and then watch boxing and act like I don't care who the best is. That's just not indicative of why I watch sports. Shouldn't be with you either. Give a damn where he come from, how he look, and all that. Who's the best, man? You can still have somebody you like, but you like and the best are two different ball games, right? We can all have the ones we like, but you can't just put your dude because you like him and say he's the best, and he never has to fight any of the other guys who we consider the best. Doesn't work like that. But you know something? Maybe you're right, because it does work like that. It has been. But let's see what happens going forward. Bottom line is this. Terence Crawford wants to be undisputed. That's why he's trying to take the fights he wants to get with a Pacquiao. He can't fight Errol Spence right now because Errol Spence had the car accident. He's not fighting in that fight first because he won't get credit for it. I totally understand the man. Let's make sure you do something, Danny Garcia, and people realize that you're back and you're looking good. Then we can holler. Not before then. Not with Terence Crawford. I'm making legacy fights. I ain't got no time for that stuff. So, bottom line is, I get Pacquiao. Right? Pacquiao just looked good against Thurman. Right? Now I get Pacquiao, and after that, then we can dance for undisputed. Because I'm sure, without knowing Terence Crawford, just watching people, he got undisputed at 140, and he's going to definitely attempt to get undisputed at 147 before he moves probably to his last weight division, which will probably be 154 with them big old boys up there that ain't playing. But he ain't going to go up there and don't have all the belts when it's possible to be done. And the good thing about it is Errol Spence will probably want to do the same thing. So therefore, that fight can possibly happen. But some things got to happen beforehand. Bottom line is, that's why I'm talking about Crawford. He wants to be undisputed. Anybody wants to be undisputed, then we'll talk about it. Doma Sports Talk, worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.